How do you go from playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, making $2 million a year, to a homeless man cleaning up human feces? This is the story of Royston Drenthe. Royston had one of the toughest childhoods of any football player. When he was 3 years old, his neighbor repeatedly rang their bell while hitting their door, begging for someone to open up. When his mother finally answered, she immediately knew something was horribly wrong. Royston's father, Guno, had been murdered. Guno was selling drugs on the streets of Rotterdam. The Netherlands and two rivals wanted to take over his block. So when he walked out of this bar, they opened fire, assassinating him in cold blood. The guy that pulled the trigger got sentenced to 9 years. Sadly, this would only be the beginning of a turbulent life for young Royston.
How are you? Who are you too?
Around the age of 5, Royston's football talent started to show. He was quite small for his age, but he wasn't scared for kids bigger than him. He was a fighter, and football gave him the confidence he needed. It was the only thing he truly enjoyed. So in 1996, when he was 9 years old and joined Feyenoord's youth academy, he became the happiest boy in the world. It was obvious this kid had all the talent to make it to the highest level, but his troubled home situation definitely affected him. When not at the training ground, he would smoke weed with his friends, and he was often expelled for throwing wet toilet paper at teachers or other types of bad behavior. When Royston was 15, he had his first major setback. He was asked to leave Feyenoord. They didn't believe in him anymore, and he spiraled into a deep depression. A smaller Dutch club, Excelsior, signed him, but he didn't seem to care. He was absolutely heartbroken and started hanging out on the streets more and more, causing all sorts of trouble in the neighborhood. It wouldn't be until 2004 that Royston enjoyed playing again and started to like his new club. He stopped hanging out on the streets, cut out his friends who had a bad influence on him, and 1 year later, at 18 years old, Feyenoord realized they had made a mistake and asked him to come back.
Ik ben Royston Drenthe, kom oorspronkelijk uit Rotterdam. Ik woon in Rotterdam-Oost en ik speel in de Feyenoord A1. En ja, dat was het zo'n beetje.
En je bent jong en gretig.
Jong en gretig inderdaad. Ja. Heel gretig.
Ja.
That year, his career rapidly evolved. He signed a pro contract, started training with the first team, and on January 15th, 2006, he finally made his debut.
Royston Drenthe is in de ploeg gekomen, 19-jarige verdediger. Hij de vervanger van Diego Biseswar.
Getuigt van veel zelfvertrouwen. Een brutaal spelertje dat Feyenoord heeft ingebracht in de slotfase van dit duel.
And that cheeky playstyle is exactly what made him a fan favorite. He started making more minutes and even gave an important assist during a heated game against PSV. Royston was the man of the hour and got selected for the Dutch under-21 national team. That officially put Royston's name on the map. And in the summer of 2007, he took things to a whole new level. He single-handedly secured the European Cup for the Netherlands and was rewarded Best Player of the tournament. The troubled kid whose father got murdered was suddenly making big waves, and everyone could feel it. As soon as Royston got back home to his family, Barcelona, Chelsea, and Real Madrid started calling. And even though many advised him not to leave Feyenoord yet and get some more minutes in, Royston couldn't resist the offer they made him.
Royston Drenthe krijgt zijn droomtransfer naar Real Madrid.
Royston Drenthe verhuist voor een bedrag van zo'n 13 miljoen euro van Feyenoord naar Real Madrid. Feyenoord vangt zo'n 13 miljoen euro voor Drenthe, die 29 wedstrijden voor Feyenoord speelde. Hij is pas 20 jaar oud en wordt voor een miljoenenbedrag verkocht aan een buitenlandse voetbalclub. Drenthe werd gisteren letterlijk en figuurlijk door Real van het trainingsveld bij de Kuip geplukt.
Maar dan zijn er bodyguards. Ja, de dag daarvoor was het allemaal een beetje vervelend geweest.
Dan zijn gewoon die kinderen gewoon een handtekening geven, is niks aan de hand. Hij is zelf nog een kind.
A 20-year-old kid that grew up in one of the poorest neighborhoods in the country was now thrown into a life he could only dream about, making 1.4 million euros a year and receiving a 500K signing bonus straight into his account, put him on cloud 9. And on top of it, he even scored on his debut. But as quick as things went up for Royston, they began crumbling down. Only a week after scoring that goal, he was already out drinking. He downed one glass of Jack Daniels after the other and hopped in his brand new Audi Q7 that he got from his club. His vision was blurry, but he decided to drive off anyway.
Komt een brandweer met zwaailichten van terug, dus ik moest terug. En dus hoe ik zeg maar terug ga, maak ik meteen een manoeuvre zeg maar naar links door zeg maar een dubbel doorgetrokken streep. Maar die polities kwamen al aan. Dus hoe ik zeg maar in één keer die bocht wil maken zonder te kijken, knal ik vol in een politieauto. Ik nog geen woord Spaans, dus mijn optie was van oké, ik moet Gavico bellen. Gavico is nu nog steeds de man rondom de spelers die alles regelt. En ze wouden me al naar binnen halen om te blazen. En op dat moment stapt Gavico die bus in. En die zegt, no, es jugador de Madrid. Lo arreglamos, in la commissariat. Ik verstond nog niet goed Spaans, maar ik wist wel dat dat een soort van teken was van oké, dit gaan we hier niet doen.
Pressure at the club was immense, so to cope with that, he started looking for distractions.
Kwart voor 5 in de nacht. Vrijdagnacht. Normaal zou ik slapen. Het feit dat DJ vast aan Madrid is, dan moet ik toch even piepen. Je weet zelf, represent Rotterdam, represent de jongeren, je weet zelf, de young boys.
His life was slowly falling apart before our eyes. During his first season, he played 1,035 minutes in 26 games and won his first and also last La Liga title, for which he received a $300K bonus. But Royston was burning cash faster than he was making it. His wedding costed $700K, his house $5 million, and the money he received from sponsors was gambled away at the poker table. He felt like he would never run out of cash, but his following seasons at Madrid drastically changed the course of his career. In his second season, he played in 28 games, but most of them were as last-minute substitute, only being on the field for 657 minutes, which was about 60% of his first season. As his playtime went down, his anxiety and gambling went up, so nobody was surprised when he only played 11 games and 483 minutes in his third season. He clashed with his teammates Fernando Gago and Javier Saviola, and it seemed like everything was falling apart, especially when Mourinho decided to send him on a one-year loan to Hercules Alicante. The low-ranked Spanish team thought his speed, power, and creativity could help them escape relegation, but that turned out to be the most controversial season of his career yet. Hercules agreed to pay him the exact salary as Real, but after 4 months without receiving a paycheck, Royston went on strike, refused to play, and stayed in the Netherlands. When he finally got back to Alicante, more than 50 angry fans were waiting for him at the airport. Police had to escort him to his car to make sure he wouldn't be attacked. His relationship with the club was completely destroyed after that. But Madrid didn't want him back either, and they sent him on loan to Everton for the last year of their contract. This was the last chance to turn things around. The only question was, could Royston actually bounce back? He still proved to be a very talented player that could even score goals, but he didn't get along with his coach, David Moyes. Things got so bad once he went up to the Scottish trainer and told him to shut the up. After that incident, he was dismissed from the club. Crazy enough, Royston considers that one of his best seasons of his career.
Drenthe! Oh, what a goal! What a brilliant goal! Royston Drenthe, after 2 minutes and 18 seconds. An outstanding strike from the Dutch international.
Everton betaalde de helft van mijn salaris en Real Madrid betaalde dat jaar helft van mijn salaris. En Everton wou dus dat als ik zou willen blijven, dan moest ik dus genoegen nemen met alleen die helft van mijn salaris.
Wat was de helft van je salaris toen?
Toen 1,1, want mijn laatste jaar bij Real Madrid verdiende ik 2,2. Achteraf gezien had ik dat misschien sportief moeten doen, om het feit dat ik was daar op mijn plek. Ik presteerde supergoed, maar in dat moment waar ik op dat moment was als jongen, als hoe ik me voelde, een beetje onsterfelijk, vond ik dat ik die deal zeg maar niet kon aannemen.
So once again, Royston packed his bags and disappeared from the European fields to this time continue his career in Russia. So he wasn't homeless or cleaning up human feces just yet. On the contrary, he was promised to earn 1.2 million euros during his first 6 months at Alanya. But after spending 4 months in some tiny crap town in Russia, he only ended up with 10K because the club got declared bankrupt. So he had no other choice but to sign for Reading, an English club that played on the second highest level, since no Premier League teams wanted to bring him on because of his bad reputation and the incidents with Moyes. At Reading, he was also promised 1.2 million a year, but yet again, he didn't succeed, and for the following years, he simply chased the money. Sheffield Wednesday, Turkey, and Abu Dhabi. At some clubs he got paid, and at some he didn't. But one thing didn't change. Royston never stopped partying. Booze, women, music, and a 3-week gambling vacation in Las Vegas right after. But when he finally came back to reality, he realized the majority of his money was gone and no good-paying clubs were interested in signing him anymore. All his friends disappeared and things got ugly. He played a few seasons in the Netherlands and even joined amateur teams before moving back to Spain to play for Real Murcia in the 3rd Spanish League. The drinking, smoking, and women had finally caught up to him. He was in terrible shape, got accused of money laundering. His gambling addiction got worse than it already was, and in 2020, he was declared bankrupt. His contract in Spain ended in 2022, and the guy who was once seen as Madrid's next big thing blew all his money, couldn't afford a house for himself anymore, moved back in with his mother, wrote a biography about his crazy adventures, and has been working in healthcare ever since. But Royston doesn't regret a single thing. He lived life to the fullest and wouldn't change anything about his past.
Super blij met hoe alles is gelopen. Tuurlijk hadden andere dingen anders kunnen lopen, maar ik zie het ook zo. Life is life. Everything happens with a reason. Zo, hoe mijn carrière is gelopen, dat is gewoon mijn lot. Zo had het moeten lopen.